Hello and welcome to the new sketchbook flip through. This is my sketchbook number 10, which I've completed between January 23 and August 23. So this year it took me 7 months to complete. Actually, the last spread in this book is from the 1st of August or 2nd of August. So 7 months to complete this book. I don't know if it's quick or if it's slow. I know it depends of how much I'm actually drawing and how I enjoy the sketchbook and my materials. Also, when I was working in the sketchbook, I was going through a little bit of a creative block when I didn't really feel like painting or drawing anything. So it's all there. There are spreads that are horrible, which I absolutely hate, and there are spreads that are quite nice that I enjoy. So what I'm going to do first is do a quick flip through, just for the people that don't want to listen to the chat. And the second part of this video will be where I actually chat about the spreads and the paintings that I've done in this book. So I will put a timestamp so you can choose which version you wanna watch. And without further ado, let's get on to it. So in this part, let's have a chat about different spreads and about the book itself. This sketchbook is an Arteza sketchbook and it's 230 grams paper, 110 pounds. I am not a fan of this sketchbook and I was really looking forward to completing it, as I don't really like leaving things unfinished. I just wanted to finish it, put it away on a shelf and be done with it basically. I've done the cover some time ago. The cover was just simple grey fabric and I painted this cover with acrylic paints. That video is on my channel somewhere. As you can see, I've completed this book between January and August, so it took me about 7 months. And let's start with this painting. Initially, I wanted this sketchbook to be my gouache painting sketchbook. As it turned out, I used everything else in this book, not only gouache, but that was my intention behind this sketchbook. And I started by doing this Studio Ghibli scene. I still don't know which movie this is from. This is an image I found on Pinterest. Here, I think I was going through a little bit of a creative block. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any motivation or inspiration to paint or draw anything. And I kind of picked up just random colors. And I think it's Tombows and some maybe Caran d'Ache crayons, or maybe just Tombows. I'm not even sure. And I just doodled basically. And I wanted to motivate myself to do something. It's not the best, but I think when I look at this spread, I remember how I was feeling at the time, and that's the beauty of a sketchbook. These two spreads were actually done when I was ill. I had a chest infection early this year, and I was in bed and I had this book about how to draw different animals, and I was learning how to draw them and just using colored pencils and some Tombows. Here I've got a background with gouache because I had some gouache left over on the palette, so I wanted to use that up. And I think the background for this cat, the body of a cat, is done with gouache as well, and I just added like colored pencils on top. Again, nothing special, but it's something that I thought at the time was helping me to come out from my creative block. So this is just few swatches of the Arteza colored pencils and Tombows that I liked. And here again, same thing, I had gouache left over on the palette, and I think I just did few backgrounds and then just drew on top of it with a pen. And again, that was based from that book about how to draw different animals, just learning to draw cats because I was planning to do cat stickers for my Etsy shop, and yeah, I was learning to draw cats. These two are basically the same, two different versions of the same photo. That was for Landscape Art Club over on Instagram. They do a weekly challenge, and I've done these two. So it's the same reference photo, just different colors used. This one is a little bit more abstract because obviously we don't get pink trees, but I like pink, so I've done it in this abstracty way. And that was done with watercolors as a base, I think, and then I used some oil pastels and some colored pencils on top. This as you can probably read, I was unwell. I was taking antibiotics and I was taking an inhaler. That was done when I was ill as well. I just sat on my desk and I drew what was in front of me. Here I was swatching some my Roman Schmal colors, and then I've ordered some new ones, and I added this little flippy floppy thing, piece of paper, to add to my swatches. Then again is one of the Instagram challenges, two versions of the same photo. I don't like any of them. I think they are horrible. It just nothing worked for me. I just felt like I can't do anything right, and I started doubting myself, thinking I should just stick to what I know, which is watercolors. But I really wanted to try other materials as well, and I was trying, and you know, you can't blame anyone for trying and for trying to experience different supplies and experiment with them. That again was done during my chest infection. That was a background which I've done with I think Tombows, and I just drew my lungs and I filled them up with these mandala designs. And again, something I had on my palette, probably leftover gouache, and I just drew on top of that with my Posca pens. That again was done for Landscape Art Club challenge, one of the weekly challenges, and I went completely bonkers with the colors. None of these colors are as on the reference pictures, but I was I was experimenting with like bright color palettes. I've always loved bright colors, and I wanted to use them more in my paintings and my drawings, and I was just experimenting and having fun. This again, Landscape Art Club challenge, weekly challenge, and this is done with gouache. Another Studio Ghibli scene. This video is on my YouTube channel as well, so you're welcome to watch it. And here I was drawing some animals. I wanted to create Easter stickers, and I was just practicing, kind of like putting ideas down on paper. And this is just done with Tombows and colored pencils. more animals that I wanted to turn into stickers, and I never have. And I think it was I kind of made those blobs of watercolor on paper, and then I drew around, and I kind of imagined what animal can be hidden in that blob of paint, and I drew from imagination, but just trying to see different shapes and things in the watercolor blobs. This was done from a reference picture. My son went skiing in February this year, and he brought a lot of beautiful pictures. So this was done from the picture, and it's a mixture of gouache and crayons and probably some pencils as well. Mixed media. Same thing here. It was done based on the reference photo from my son from his skiing trip. This one was a part of Hannah Flanagan's Patreon challenge. Each month she would give some reference images to her patrons, and we would draw based on her images. Not sure I like it. I really don't like those gloomy skies, but like I said, I was kind of going through a hard time with this sketchbook, and also with myself being motivated and inspired to do stuff. This is another landscape art club challenge, this time some trees, and that was done with gouache. And this is I think that video is on my YouTube channel as well. This is done with gouache, and I think it's just a scene from some, I don't think it's a movie scene. I just found a reference photo somewhere and I liked it, and I wanted to paint it in gouache. Here again we've got two drawings from a landscape art club challenge on Instagram, and this was my take one, and I didn't like these, and I had another go, and this time I used watercolors and just done stuff a little bit different, but I like this effect more than this one. Still not my favorites though, but it's better than that one. This I've painted the same house from the same reference photo about 2 or 3 years ago, I think, and I wanted to compare, see how much I've learned over the years I've been painting and drawing. And that video, I think it's on my YouTube channel, or maybe there's a short showing you what I've done back then and how I did it now. So that's watercolors and fountain pen. And this, I was working on some wood slices for my Etsy shop, and let me show you one. So I've got these wood slices in my Etsy shop, but I was trying different designs, and I was kind of like imagining what I want to put on them and just drawing and testing the waters, you might say. This was done from Katie Moody's Patreon challenge, was it, or one of her live Zoom sessions, and we were painting all over the world, and this one is from Thailand. That's the same thing from Katie Moody's Patreon Zoom live, and this one is in Norway. These, one day I had the Sunday off, and I woke up and I just felt in a mood, and I took out my Schminke super granulating watercolors, and I just played with them. And I like how Natasha Newton does her illustrations, and I wanted to try a similar style. Not sure this is my style, but it was nice to play and experiment. I think this was done when I got a bunch of new art supplies, and I was just testing them out and using those supplies to create something, and this is what I had. That's another challenge from Instagram. This one day I decided to draw and paint my street where I grew up, and this is actually in a small village in Poland. This is where I grew up, and I used Google Earth to look at the view, and basically this is the view. And this is my house. My house from my childhood. My mom still lives there. This was another landscape art club challenge from Instagram in Japan, and I think that was Google Earth as well. The format that they provide on Instagram is usually either square or kind of like a vertical, not landscape like this, but vertical landscape like this. Portrait. This is the word I was missing, but it doesn't fit the layout of my sketchbook, so I found the same place on Google Earth and I painted from that. This was done plein air when me and my partner, who is here, went out for a walk, and I just took my Derwent Inktense paints, and because they were small and compact for me at the time, I took them out and I stood on the pavement and I drew this house across the road. So that's that, and I was just me trying to come out from this horrible art block, and we were sitting in the garden. It was quite warm and I drew him. He doesn't look like him. He's much better looking in real life. Another couple of challenges from Instagram. Here I got really frustrated with my paints. I didn't know if it was the paper or the paints. They come out really not very vibrant and like murky. I don't know if you can see. I clean my palette very often, and I just didn't know why they were coming out like this, quite murky. If you know, let me know in the comments. I don't know. I don't think it's a problem or issue with the paint itself. Maybe I just overmix them or overdo with something, and that's how they turn up. So if you know, I appreciate that. Let me know in the comments. Same thing, just trying different things and trying different colors. That was done from imagination. It's not the best, but still, again, I have the same effect of very murky watercolors. And I don't know, these were professional watercolors by Winsor & Newton, and I've had problems with them ever since that first painting here. I don't know what went wrong. These, I was just doing some swatches of my super granulating Schminke watercolors. I wanted to use them a little bit more, reorganize my palette, and turns out, like with a lot of materials, I buy them and then I rarely ever use them. So I put them in a nice large palette, and it's here by my side, ready to be used. But have I used it? Not really, no. That's another challenge from Instagram. This was like, oh yes, I also, in this one, I challenged myself, and I challenged myself to use those super granulating colors. They are quite soft and quite, they're not very vibrant, the colors that I have. And I was just trying to paint with them and see what I can achieve. It doesn't look so bad. It's okay. This is another Instagram challenge, same thing, Landscape Art Club. They post challenges every week, so if you're into that kind of stuff, or if you're looking for inspiration to paint something, check them out. Every week is a different photo, and actually there's few photos that you can choose from the few of them that they provide, and I'm sure someone will always find something that they like, something that they want to draw. This, again, trying to motivate myself to draw and trying to motivate myself to paint and fill this sketchbook. I really don't like this paper, don't like this sketchbook, and I just wanted to finish it ASAP, and I decided to draw my favorite perfumes. Yes, this is my perfume collection. I've got a few more, but these are my favorite. These are my absolutely favorite. Let me know if you collect perfumes and which ones are your favorite. I think my newest addition is this one, the Lina exclusive. It's quite heavy and woody, and it's really nice for cold days and for winter. I love this one, and it lasts forever. And this is Libre by YSL, La Belle by Jean Paul Gaultier. This is Narciso Rodriguez, and this is Ariana Grande. This is, oh, what is it? Azura, I think. Azura. This is Baccarat Rouge. So these 6-7 perfumes are my absolute favorites, and I love them. And yeah, decided to paint them. That's another Landscape Art Club challenge, and I adore how these blues came out. These are all Roman Schmal colors, and I just couldn't be happier with them. They look so vibrant and so like that. That was when I was reviewing the Stablo plein air easel, and again I used my Winsor & Newton watercolors, and as you can see, they are quite murky. They are definitely not as vibrant as Roman Schmal watercolors, so maybe it's something to do with the paints themselves. I'm not sure. That's the same thing from the same vlog when I was reviewing the Stablo easel. It's the same lake, but just a different view. And this, when I went to that lake to do this Stablo easel review, I took a picture and I posted that on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, I'm going to put my Instagram account somewhere here somewhere, or it will definitely be in the description box. I have that as a challenge on my Instagram, and I painted that with Roman Schmal colors, paints, and I've added some pencil marks to the trees and greens, and I think it makes them pop. This is gouache because obviously yellow watercolor will not show up on the green that well. This was done in I Love White. That vlog is also on my channel for you to see. I had such a nice time. I wish I was there right now. It was lovely and it was peaceful, and I enjoyed every minute of it. That again was I Love White, plein air. Same thing, plein air, I Love White. That was on the beach by Osborne House. That was done from the reference photo I took going towards Osborne House. It just wasn't enough time in a day for me to paint everything I wanted, everything that I found fascinating. There was simply not enough time, so I took plenty of reference photos, and I will be painting from them in the future. That's the same thing, Brooke. And that was the last spread, I think. Yeah, that was the last spread I've done in this sketchbook, and I was so happy I finally finished it because I really had enough of it. And that was done on I Love White as well, and I added the tickets from that day, parking ticket and a chairlift ticket. And here are just some swatches that I've done in the past, and that's it. So this is my sketchbook number 10 completed. You are welcome to check out my Instagram. The link to my Instagram account will be in the description box. Also, if you want to check out those wood slices, that's how they look like. They are in my Etsy shop as well, so feel free to check them out. And I thank you for watching, and thank you for checking out my Instagram and checking out my Etsy shop. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I wish you all the best for the upcoming week, and look out for vlog number 8. That's it from me now, and Thank you for watching and goodbye.